Morning, everybody.
All good, guys?
Everybody good? Hear me? All right. Great to see everybody. It's been 261 days since our last game. I think that's right. What somebody told me. I just told our team, in some sense, it seems like just yesterday we were practicing at Butler, and that feeling was incredible because we were that good in that practice that day, and yet it seems like an eternity ago due to COVID and everything that's gone on. So this group's eager. They're excited to play. I'm excited to see them play. We've had 32 practices, I think, total. So we're in a good place in terms of understanding. The difficult part of this right now is the fact that we've never had a scrimmage. We've never had an exhibition game. So we've never had just 5 guys on the court that are playing it for Illinois. We've always had practice. There's 10 guys. So you lose sight of what a horn does, substitutions. So we're not alone, obviously, in that. So it'll be very different from that perspective. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to getting this thing started. It's obviously been a great challenge. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Joey Biggs. He goes very unheralded in his job of putting a schedule together on very short notice. We obviously had Wright State bow out of this MTE, and to get Chicago State, who was available in a record time, was all him. So we're excited. North Carolina A&T is a familiar foe. We played last year. This is a very good basketball team, guys. This is a team that has a high major backcourt, in my opinion. They're all veterans. Their point guard is an all-league guy. He led the country in assists. They've got May, who was a transfer from VCU, who got eligible right for us last year and really had a nice game against us. They've got a young man that transferred that was at Missouri, went to NC State, and is now there, that gets eligible. So, along with Fred Cleveland, and Fred leads them in field goal attempts coming back off the bench, and then Quay Parker, who's a young man that fifth-year senior, elite athlete. So that backcourt is really talented and will challenge us. They changed tempo a great deal last year. I think they were averaging 55 points a game coming in, and now their last 16, 18 games, they were up in the 80s. So a team that likes to play up tempo, team that's led by a great point guard, and be a great challenge for us.
Go ahead, Jim. Get it started.
Hey, Brad, I know you've talked many times about when you were at Western, looking at the Illinois program, thinking one day you'd like to be the head coach at Illinois. Now, seeing what you've done with the program going into your 4th year now, just and the expectations that are looking at this program, what are you thinking going into tomorrow's first game? I mean, you said you haven't played in a long time, but what's your feelings going into tomorrow?
Pure excitement. And I mean, for a lot of reasons. Obviously, when you deal with 18 to 22-year-olds, COVID has been a challenge. I'm really proud of our guys, the way they've handled this. And then from the perspective of, we're not picked 10th or 12th or 13th in our league. We've grown this program, and I'm so proud for our staff. I'm proud for our fans. To say it's been easy would be a lie, but to say it's easier when you've got a program with such deep tradition and history, and it's been done before, and there's a path that we just had to follow to get there, and there were speed bumps, and it was not easy, and yet I'm awfully proud of the way we've built this, and our staff is put together a great recruiting class year after year, and they fit us. And now we've been able to get older, and that's been one thing we've been striving for our time here. So, Jim, I'm really proud of that and excited to get this year going.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brad, I understand you had 2 team captains voted on yesterday. Can you tell me the leadership each of those 2 bring to the table? Is it pretty similar, or why do you think they were picked as team captains?
Well, it was unanimous, and it wasn't where there was any doubt that those guys are very well respected for their accomplishments on the court, but more importantly, what they do in the locker room. And they do it in different ways. DeMonte now is becoming much more vocal. And they're both great examples. Io, from a perspective of hard work. I'll put him against anybody in the country in terms of time spent in the gym and improving his game. And, it's nice when your best player is also your most improved player. And there's leadership by example, and there's leadership by experience, and then that camaraderie in the locker room that both of those guys have. So it was unanimous, and we couldn't have two guys to represent us any better than those 2.
When you play 3 games in 3 days to tip off the season, do you go into Wednesday thinking I'm coaching like to win, or do you have a set? I want to play everybody. Is it how do you measure rest and playing 3 and 3?
Jim, I've never coached any way but to win. We'll have a lot to figure out. There's no doubt. That's one of the things that's been a challenge is we haven't had the scrimmages and the exhibitions to figure lineups out. You guys know how much I value the bench and how do we make that productive and what that looks like. I still don't know. And so we're growing. We'll have to grow with that. We'll have to live through some of that. 3 games in 3 days doesn't bother me. Our guys are probably ecstatic. They don't have to listen to me get on them and practice, they just can go hoop and play. And to be honest, everybody's got to deal with that situation. So, we like to think that we practice harder and we're tougher than the average team. So, we're going to try to manage that the best we can and learn from game to game what we need to change.
Thank you.
Hey, Brad. I was kind of taken aback last week talking with Coleman Hawkins, just his knowledge of the game. And he was talking about defense and rebounding a lot. How rare is it for a freshman to kind of take that approach to his role and how he fits into a team? And what have you seen from him?
Jeremy, we've got a group of them, and Coleman's right there at the top. His IQ is and understanding and this group as a collective group, their maturity level is way beyond their years. And that's why I'm so excited about this group. And, when you start getting guys that ask questions that are really relevant to them learning, a lot of times you get guys that just ask questions because they want to impress the coach, but they already know the answer to. And these guys are asking questions, and they're taking notes on scouting report. We haven't even talked about, taking notes on scouting report. And I look over today and see them all writing notes down, and they're learning that from the veterans. But these guys are dialed in, and there's a maturity there that I love. And Coleman's right there at the highest level of basketball IQ and understanding.
And obviously his dad played at a high level. What did you notice from Rodney and just his impact on Coleman's kind of development in the road they took, which was a little bit different to get to where he is today?
Yeah, I think one of the great things that's happened you see is, his dad was a great player, and his dad had a lot of success, and yet, sometimes their children have to find their own way, and Coleman has done that. And he went to prolific prep, arguably the best, or probably was the best high school team in the country. And he learned to play in such a unselfish way, and lived through that and understood. And I mean, he was one of my favorite kids to recruit, just because I loved watching him play. I mean, you just get drawn in by how he makes others better, and I'm excited to get him on the court tomorrow.
Yeah, what do you think his impact is for you guys this year? I mean, what can he bring?
A lot. I mean, he's so skilled. We've actually slid him to the 3 spot a lot more than I thought I would early. He's a deceptive defender because he's long. He's got great hands, but his IQ has allowed him to just to grow. So, he's a stretch 4 because he's an elite shooter. But again, the best thing he does is pass. So, he's gaining strength in the weight room. He's so conscientious about what he eats and making sure he's gaining weight. So, I'm excited to him. He's going to get better every single day.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad, you've talked for a while about recruiting guys who are winners, right? I mean, you talked about it with Coleman at Prolific and Io, and I mean, you can go down the list. And with that comes expectations, even in high school, where, I think Io was probably on a Morgan Park team that was favored to win state more times than not. How does that translate to kind of understand how those expectations work and how to manage them as they come in now as number 8 team in the country?
Well, Joey, it's easier when you get them here to understand that now we have veterans who have won at this level. So and I'll give you a play. Io dove on the floor for a loose ball, and Adam didn't one day. And he goes, "You're not in high school anymore. This is what we do at this level to win." And so now Adam gets it because he enjoys winning. He's had that feeling of success and knows what it takes to win. And now when you see that translated through your program, those are great teaching moments that I didn't have to teach them, and that our veterans do. But there's no substitute for winning. Guys need to learn to dislike losing, and sometimes it's too easy to accept losing, and these guys don't, and our veterans are doing a great job of teaching these young guys.
And then this team gets brought up a lot with that 05 team, just in terms of what the perception is across the country. You were at Daytona Beach in 2005. Did you ever envision yourself then? Like, if we were to go back then and say you're going to be the head coach of a preseason number 8 team that a lot of people are talking about, what would you have said to us? I
was at Daytona, but I think the one thing that I've appreciated my journey. I always wanted to be in a position to, I couldn't rush that. If that process had gotten rushed in any way, shape, or form, I probably wouldn't be here. It took all those years for me to formulate how I wanted to do it, and who I wanted to be and how I wanted to go about things. To be in a program like this, I'm fortunate, and I've said this. This is a place that has done it before, and there's a lot to that. And I'm just excited that we've got our program back to a place that it rightfully belongs. And I think we have to start acting like that. I think we have to start expecting that, and I do anyway. And that's really exciting. Again, I'm very blessed to be basketball coach at Illinois, and I'm proud of what we've done, but yet it's far from finished. Let's put it that way.
Quickly, that's pretty symbolic. You said if you would have rushed that, probably wouldn't be in this spot. That's pretty symbolic of the approach you've taken since you got here. Is that kind of where that mindset for you developed, and it's just your own journey through the?
Yeah, I think there's patience that is lost upon, we all live and die with every week and every game and every, and that's our society today. We're the microwave society, and nothing truly great works in life. I mean, that's asking you guys if you're going to be a Nobel Prize writer or or whatever it is, and you don't know 15 years from now, but the process that you're taking to get where you guys want to go in your own individual worlds is no different than mine. And so it takes patience and hard work, and what I believe is a great process that I know works, and there wasn't any way to expedite any of that. So like I said, I'm very fortunate.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey, Brad. Going into this week's game, what kind of things are you looking for from your team in 3 games you're kind of expected to win?
Well, we're going to have to play well. There's no doubt about that. And I think the one thing I'm really looking for our veterans to step up. I'm very curious to see how new guys play under the lights and with the TV cameras on and against a different jersey. I'm looking for chemistry. And then I'm really trying to figure out what our weaknesses are. And I don't mean that in an arrogant way. I mean, every team's got weaknesses. We haven't played anybody to be exposed yet. And we see a certain ball screen coverage or this or that almost every day. And you want to see what teams do to counteract what you do. And that's how you figure out really what you've got to work on. So we'll be really dialed into the little intricate things in terms of the way people approaches, effort, guys understanding that, how hard you have to play. All those things are on the table here, especially early.
Last time we talked, I think Austin and Benjamin were out of practice. Are those guys going to be ready to go for tomorrow or?
No, neither one.
And then going into tomorrow's games, do you have an idea of who your starting 5 is going to be?
I think I'm going to put them all in a hat. And Io's going to be in the lineup I probably think I should start Kofi. And I don't know. I really don't. We're going to talk as a staff. I've jumbled things all week, so you guys can be surprised tomorrow.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, so I have to interject here to keep us on schedule and to get our players in before they lift. We're gonna everybody in the queue. I'm going to limit you to 1 question so we can keep this thing moving.
I guess nobody else got any questions. We're good, huh?
I have one.
No.
Sorry, Coach.
They're queued up. Go ahead.
Sorry, Coach. I guess what I'm wondering is, how do you think the leadership of Io and DeMonte might elevate this team to reach their peaks or their ceiling?
Yeah, we'll find out. I think it's got a huge upside. It's got a huge upside. I like the fact that those are the guys representing us. I mean, those are the guys you want to go to battle with every day. And if we fall in line with that, we'll be in a good spot.
Coach, I'm curious your thoughts on the schedule, the Big Ten schedule that came out last week. Your single plays are Michigan State, Iowa, Michigan, Rutgers, Maryland, Purdue, which on paper at least is an improvement over last year. Do you think this is a gettable Big Ten schedule?
I think this league's so good it doesn't matter who we play twice, who we play once. I really believe that. I think it'll play itself out. In terms of, I think we're at Michigan State, at Michigan. I'll be honest. I know our first one's Minnesota at home. Beyond that, I don't know that much. I haven't studied it in depth. I just know they're all good. They're all going to come down to 2 or 3 possessions. I think it speaks volumes. Robert, we had 14 of the top 16, or 12 of the top 14 in the top 60 of the net last year. And I don't see that being any different. And I know Northwestern's going to be much improved. I know the couple of the kids Nebraska had setting out, they're going to be much improved. So I think 7 teams in the top 25. So I just know they're all going to be hard. It'll be very different going into a lot of these venues with no fans, but still very challenging.
Brad, there was a Pete Thamel article today that quoted a lot of high-level college head coaches in your colleagues that have a lot of concerns about these non-conference games and how it could affect the regular season in terms of their league play and in terms of the NCAA tournament in March. Are you one of those guys that has those concerns? And if it does affect this regular season play and does affect any kind of postseason, I mean, there's a big problem with that, and there's a lot of concern there. Do you share those concerns, or are you somebody that wants to just kind of plow through with what's going on right now?
Well, I don't think we have any choice right now. I've been very, very much a person of concern. I talk with our team every day about COVID. I've said it publicly already. I think the team that gets a little bit lucky and the team that handles COVID the best will be the team that wins the Big Ten. And we have protocols in place. We have the 21-day out for a positive. That could be huge. I wish we were playing league games only, but we're not. I wish we were playing 26 of them. And because I know that every opponent we play is testing the same way. And that gives us the best chance in the safest manner, in my opinion, to play games. And this is about the safety and well-being of our student athletes. But we're not doing that. Our university has been incredible. Our conference has been incredible in terms of the testing we're now doing and testing every day. All of our opponents are testing that way. And if there's a hiccup, we're just not going to play the game. And so, I expect there to be a lot of hiccups because of non-league games.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned you're curious to see how the freshmen perform this week. How do you feel like Andre and Adam have grasped what their role should be and how they can put this team in a position to be as successful as possible?
Yeah, I think that's still to be determined. And I'll use Adam. You get a guy like Adam, and Adam's always in go mode. He's been a scorer. He's been a high level scorer, and little things, learning to play off the ball, play with the ball, understanding the shot clock, good shots, bad shots. Same with Curbelo, and understanding that there's now length and size, and that floor shrinks when you get to the college level. Those are things they're going to have to learn on the fly. But I love where they're at, and I love their ability. And you guys will see that here the next 3 days, how talented those guys are. And it's just a matter of gaining experience and then really settling in. And we talk about it all the time in sports. It's the game slowing down for them. And you don't get that till you get a little experience, Derek. So I think these guys are as ready as they can be, and they're going to have to live through some of the jitters and the early pace till they figure it out. But they're talented enough to figure it out pretty quickly.
Right along those lines, would you remind us of your philosophy of the rotation generally and how it evolves over a season from getting the young guys involved to maybe a stricter 8-9 man?
Yeah, I want productivity off the bench. I think it's not always about maybe your best 5 being on the court to be, I think it's about the chemistry and the fit and making sure that you come off the bench with productivity. And I think that's one of the things that, we had, I thought last year we really settled in and had that productivity. And, knowing that Georgie came off the bench last year, Dre came off the bench for a long, long time. And we were so productive there. And that's comforting as a coach to know that, 3-4 minutes into a game when the other team's a little tired, you're coming in with some punch that can really contribute. I like the fact I have some experience coming in off the bench to go along with some new guys. So, we'll see how that all plays out tomorrow, because that's one of the things I'm really, really curious to see.
Brad, kind of on that, you mentioned that you kind of want to see what some of the weaknesses of this team are. Just looking at that freshman group as a whole, what are you kind of hoping to see from them over these first 3 games? And do you kind of want to maybe see them struggle a little bit to kind of just see how they can adapt to some adversity early on this season?
Well, they're going to struggle. They're going to make some mistakes, and there's no doubt about that. That's just par for the course. But I think you look for teachable moments, and you want to be able to help them grow as quickly as they can in those moments. And then I think you want them to understand that there's a calmness that they need to find, and the sooner they can do that, the better. And yet they have to play with their hair on fire on the defensive end. And, that's where most of the big changes happen for these guys, is on that side of the ball. And this group's been pretty diligent. They're working at it, but they're going to make mistakes, and I expect that. And sometimes some of them are going to hear a horn when they make it, 2 or 3 of them. And that's what we've got to eliminate is them consistently making mistakes. Because as we get into conference play, where we know every game's based on a possession or two, those mistakes become very, very important.
Hey, Brad, you mentioned, maybe the protocols potentially causing hiccups in non-conference games. What were the logistics for the 3 teams you're playing this week? Are they all in Champaign now, and when are they testing? I guess what's the deal there?
Yeah, they all had to, Scott. They all had to provide a test for us on Monday prior to leaving. They all got in here in town last night, and then they were required, they handled our Big Ten test. They all tested this morning. It's my understanding that everybody was negative this morning, and then they'll have their shoot-arounds and practices today here, and then they will test again before the game tomorrow, and that will go on every day. They'll test every day they're here. So far we're in a really good spot. We'll just keep knocking on wood and hope everybody stays contained, and that we get an opportunity to get the games in.
Hey, Coach, you guys had the rug pulled out from under you last year in March, and it's kind of seems to be a disarray right now with the season starting. How anxious are you to get this thing rolling, and how concerned are you to get all the way to March and get a chance to play it all the way out?
Well, I think a couple of things. One, I'm really excited. I'm really anxious. I'm ready to play, and I think our guys are. When it's been 260 plus days since you played, and these guys are competitors. They live for this moment. But I think the one thing we've got to do is understand that basketball is different than football. There's 353 schools playing Division I basketball. We're not all testing the same. And when we do see cancellations or postponements, that we don't just panic, and think the world's coming to an end. Tomorrow there's going to be a lot of teams get their season started, and there's going to be a good amount of teams not. But the train's moving, and we've got to understand that patience is part of it. I don't think there's any doubt we'll have an NCAA tournament. I think we're on the cusp of what everybody tells us, some vaccines, which could potentially help. But will it go smoothly like we normally see? No, that's not even a mentality that I think we should have. It's going to be different and challenging, and but we can't panic, and we got to understand that there's a lot of schools playing, and we're all on different testing systems. We're all on different protocols and have different rules, and that's going to cause some confusion and some things to happen. So. I feel great. We're going to have it. We're going to get to the tournament. And we're going to be in a good place, but it won't go smoothly.
Coach, how does the mindset change for you guys or maybe some of the veterans on this team, going from a team that's trying to prove everybody wrong into a team that's now trying to prove a lot of people right?
Yeah, it's all we've talked about in the fall. We've gone from hunting everybody and chasing them and trying to get where they get, and I ask my team every year, who's the hardest playing team in the conference? And I knew we had no chance the first couple of years because everybody said Michigan State or somebody else. Nobody said us, and that's how little we thought of each other and of our program, and now that's changed. And we've got to be consistent. We've talked a lot about, we've used that word a lot. We can't have off days, and that starts in practice. And I hope players with experience understand that. I know we're going to have days where the ball doesn't go in. That's everybody in the country has those. We've got to still find ways to win those games. And that's through our defense and rebounding, and that's one of the areas that made us so good last year. We defended and we rebounded, and we got to continue to do that.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, Scott Beatty, do you still have a question or are you good?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. That'll wrap us up with Coach. Thank